I have an idea. Let's record a shitty intro. Just strum it.
Okay.
This is the Zach and Aakash show. I have an idea. Let's record a shitty intro. Just strum it.
Okay.
This is the Zach and Aakash show. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Zach and Aakash show, the season finale where we talk about surviving in the woods with Jack. Everybody say, ooh.
Ooh.
Hold on, I forgot I have to move my camera because it's blocking the guest. So I gotta talk like this. Like so. There you go. Hello.
Hi.
So, Akash, you want to introduce our guest star for today?
Yes. Here is a man who needs no introduction. Our buddy Jack. No, so Jack is
Did you write
someone
that?
when we met in our entrepreneurship class back. Oh, it was over a year ago now. That's crazy. And then he was part of the whole tech and entrepreneurship community at UConn. So we became friends with Jack through that, and we also found out that Jack has really cool survival skills and a survival history. So we're really curious about that. So we brought him on today, and we're going to see what knowledge he has to offer.
Without further
Awesome.
ado, coffee.
Coffee and coffee bean.
Jack, I know this isn't our normal coffee date on
Yeah,
Sunday morning. Is it Sunday or Saturday we do our coffee dates and talk about
I think it was
stonks?
Saturdays.
Oh yeah, Jack and I do coffee together on Saturday morning. Talk about stonks
Coffee bean. How about
You know.
stonks?
and other things.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right. So it's quarantine time right now. You think it's a good time to go camping, Jack?
I mean, I think it's a pretty good time to go camping all the time. I mean, right now you just want to be a little cautious of where you go camping and who you go camping with, I guess. But like if you're going camping with the same people that you're like in your house with, I think it's totally fine. And just avoid some of the more like heavily trafficked areas probably.
Interesting. So Jack, picture this: we are
Mhm.
in an airplane, okay, and you're
Mhm.
sleeping on the airplane, and what do you know? All three of us are on the airplane, and suddenly the airplane explodes. And we're all just trapped on an island together. All right. So
Hold
how
on.
are we gonna survive, Jack? What do
I'm
we
pretty
do?
sure we'd be dead if it exploded.
No,
in
we're
air while
lucky.
Yeah.
sleeping.
We're lucky. We fell off the airplane together, and now all three of us have to survive. And now you're in charge All right, so we wake up on the beach. What do we do?
Okay. So the first thing you want to do is assess the situation, right?
Okay.
So you have to figure out what kind of tools you have, what the environment's like, um, and where you are if you can figure that out. Because the ultimate goal is not to just like survive there forever. It's to get rescued and come back to civilization. Um, so probably the first thing you want to do, if it's during like the day, is create some kind of um, shelter from the sun, because if you're out in the sun too long in an arid environment, that can be really detrimental long term. And it'll also help you conserve water. And it's pretty quick to get a shelter going.
Okay, so as we were falling out of the airplane, we're
Mhm.
allowed to take 3 items. What
Okay.
items? Like total, so each of us gets 1 item. What items should we take out of the airplane?
Bro, what type of airplane are you falling from?
Dude, this is one of those QTAR or no, the ones that go to Dubai. We're in first class.
Okay.
We're in first class right now.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
So I'm going to assume that we don't have knives or fire starters on the plane.
Oh shit, you're right.
Um,
Or
Okay.
no, answer it this way: what 3 items would we ideally have, and then we can go with the assumption route.
so I think first is probably some kind of like multi-tool knife, and that would allow you to um, be able to make shelter more easily and um, help with the fire starting process. You'd also probably want some kind of like ferro rod, which is just a fire starting rod, and that would let you get fires going really quickly so you could signal. And last, you'd probably want some kind of either a tarp or something that you could potentially fish with if you're on the island. Um,
Ah,
because while you don't need food, I mean, a tarp would probably be the better choice, but a fishing tool would be a close second. Because the tarp you can use as shelter, and you can also use to get water.
Hmm.
gotcha. So how long can we go without food?
About 3 weeks.
Damn.
Okay, and are we gonna feel like shit at the end of the 3 weeks, or?
You'd be dead.
Will feel horrible before the end of the 3 weeks. It'll probably a week in, and we'll be really lethargic. That's why I would never suggest holding off on food that long. um, I mean, you obviously want to you want to get fire, shelter, water immediately,
Mm-hmm.
um, and work on signaling. But while you're signaling, that's when you should be getting your food.
Gotcha.
So it's 48 hours for water, right? Before you die.
Uh, 48, 72, somewhere in there.
All right.
Damn.
Say we don't have a multi-tool,
Uh-huh.
and we do not have a fire starter. All we land with a blanket. That's all we have. The blanket we were sleeping with on the plane.
Okay.
What do you do? Well, take us through the steps.
First thing you do is probably um, find some kind of rock that you can use to um, more effectively break uh, sticks and things. So yeah, so that's probably the first thing you do. Next, um, it really depends where the island is. If we think that we have a good chance at being near civilization and someone seeing our signals, um, I'd get started on a signal fire immediately. If we don't think we've got a great chance and the elements are particularly rough on us, I'd work on getting a shelter done first,
Mm.
because you can get that going really quickly. But to get a signal fire, I'd probably take off my shoelaces, use a little rock to carve a notch in a piece of wood, and make kind of a bow with using the shoelaces,
Oh,
and
Interesting.
then you wrap that around one, like basically you've got a vertical stick, a horizontal stick, and then the bow, and some kind of rock to hold the vertical stick in place, and you wrap the bow around the vertical stick, and if you move it back and forth, that'll cause the vertical stick to spin, and that is how you start a fire.
Damn.
wow.
Shoelaces. I never
If you
thought
don't
of
have if you don't have shoelaces, like we're all wearing flip flops on the island,
that.
um, then you can also basically collect a bunch of dry grass and break it up by putting some sand in your hands and rubbing it between your hands, and that'll get the fibers of the grass, and then you can twist that together and basically twist it on itself, and that'll create a rope.
Oh shit.
And then you can use that to um, make the bow as well.
Wow.
Yo, wait, how much grass do you need for that?
It would take a while,
Okay.
and there are other ways of starting fires too. Like you could do something called the fire plow method, where you just have basically instead of using a bow to spin the vertical stick, you just push the vertical stick into the horizontal stick and keep doing that until you have a fire. It works in really dry environments, but if there's any kind of moisture in the wood, it is really, really difficult.
So humid island won't be pretty good, or will be good for that.
It could be. It depends if it rains often, and how strong the sun is as well.
Interesting.
All right. So we got a fire going.
Hmm.
We're nice and warm. There's a signal or something sending smoke from the flames. Now, what do we do next? So you said shelter. What's the main purpose of the shelter? Is it for protection against like small animals or something like that, or is it
No.
just for what is shelter for?
Uh, Shelter is basically protection from the sun if you're in this circumstance.
Gotcha.
It's sun and rain. Um, you'd build a very different shelter if we were in a colder place, and that would keep us warm. Um, but yeah, this one's basically keeping us out of the sun because that's what's going to dehydrate us. That's what's going to cause us to burn and blister over the 3 weeks that we could be there plus. Um, and one last note about the fires: you want to arrange them in like a triangle of three, because that signals that you need help and you're not just having a bonfire on the beach. You know.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I did not know that. So you have 3 fires.
Yeah, I mean, if you build a big enough fire, I'm sure someone, and you're in a remote enough place, I think someone would figure it out. But
Never
three is
know.
what signals.
Jack, have you ever played the game Don't Starve?
No.
I recommend you check it out. It's a fun game. It's pretty realistic. You can make rope with grass. You can also start fires with dead grass. I just got it yesterday. I was playing it with a friend,
Cool.
and you might have fun playing it. It's all about
Okay.
surviving in
Yeah.
a situation like this.
Fun.
But okay, so how would you go about making a shelter if all you had is a blanket, which could become wet from rain? It's not waterproof.
Yeah. So I mean, I would probably lay the blanket down on the ground, and that would protect you from like any kind of sand fleas or things like that. But the big thing you want to figure out with the shelter is you want to kind of assess what the landscape is like first, because you want to build it in the right place so that you don't have issues later on. Um, so the initial shelter we'd probably want to build right on the edge of the beach,
Okay.
um, so that we could manage our signal fires and things like that, and keep a lookout in case we saw any ships on the horizon. But longer term, we might want to move inland a bit, especially if we don't know what the flood potential is of the beach area. Because if there's a wicked storm, there's a very real possibility that our beachside shelter could get just pummeled. So we want to look for a place that's like in a relative high area. You know, it doesn't have to be the highest part on the island, but it can't be in like any kind of hollow. We want the water to all drain away from it, and that'll prevent against getting any kind of illnesses that you could get by just sitting in a really damp place for too long. But as far as actually building it goes, you'd probably want to look for some trees with some Ys in them, and basically break off a big stick or find a big stick and put it between the two with Ys. And then we would get a bunch of smaller sticks and lay it down over that.
What did you say? Trees with what? No wives?
Yeah, so like
What are
it
they?
just branches off into a Y.
Like okay, gotcha.
The slingshot.
Yep.
Kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'd put a branch between those and then a bunch of branches going from that to the ground. And then we would cover it with some kind of leafy material to help the water run off.
Palms.
Yeah, that would work in this environment. You can
Hell
also use
yeah.
like pine needles, and you can even use just like leaves that you find on the ground if you need to. And if it's cold, you might want to use something like if it's cold but not snowy, you could use like dirt as an insulator. But if it's snowy, snow is a really good insulator.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we got a shelter now. How about water? How does water work? Are we completely dependent on rain for water, or can we do something else?
So rain helps a lot, but we can do a few things. Like if we find any kind of fresh water source, we can purify it by boiling it, and that'll kill most of the bacteria, and make it safe for us to drink. We could also fashion some sort of filter using the sand and charcoal, and I don't know, maybe bamboo if that's around, or some other type of stick. But if there's no fresh water source, then we're in a tough spot. And we can create some kind of still using the fire that we have. But we need something above the fire to basically collect the condensation off of whatever salt water we're boiling, you know. And that can be tough.
I see.
What's up?
So for like boiling the water, how do you do that? How do you make a pot or something?
Yeah, so if we can find clay, that would work really well, you know, but we don't. If we find clay, there's probably some kind of river nearby as well.
Oh, interesting.
Because like it's normally in those like wetter areas, and it won't be on a very small island, you know, most likely. We should be able to use like a thicker a so if we're doing fresh water and boiling that to purify it, we should be able to use just kind of any container that we can hold the water in. It could be made of wood, and we just put hot rocks into it, and those will boil it and purify it for the most part. that's going to be like one of your best options to do that. If it's salt water, um, it's a little harder, but I think you should be able to still get a big like you're gonna want like a burlier log, to put the water in, and probably carve the top off with some kind of rock. You could make it that way by burning the top in the fire first and just like chiseling away at it. And then you'd probably put the water in the top and have it evaporate then. But I don't know, if we're in such a hot environment, another good bet would probably be to use like some big leaves, and the water will evaporate out of the leaves, and that'll be an easier way of getting it probably. We just need to figure out some way to
Cool.
catch the water.
Like a
Wow, I did not realize there were so many
Tarp.
different ways of getting and purifying water.
Yeah, it's a complex process, but they're good options. So
And at which point do you make a crafting table?
yeah, that's probably one of the first things you do.
punch the trees.
Yeah. Yeah. What's a right technique to punch the trees? But so that's cool. So what's the order of all this again? What do you want first? I'm all right. I'm gonna take a stab at it. So is
Okay.
it like tools, fire, water, shelter? Like
So
basic tools to hack wood or something?
yeah, it really depends on what resources you have available.
Uh-huh.
So if you have some kind of like tool available that's like a sharp looking rock, go for it. Or if you have tools on you already, great. It I would probably do fire first in most situations.
Okay.
But I also know how to build fires really well, so I can get it going relatively quickly. If I did not know how to build fires well, I would probably just basically take a bunch of sticks from the woods and lay those out on the beach for a signal.
Oh, gotcha. Like a huge help sign or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the first thing you really want to do in this situation is signal to people, especially because they'll be looking for you if your plane just blew up. So I think that's really one of the first things I would do is get some kind of signal, whether it's fire or just sticks.
Mm.
And then what you do next kind of depends on what time of day it is, what the environment's like. If it's really harsh, you want to get a shelter going. Oh, we only have 10 minutes left in this meeting.
Oh
Yeah, I just got that notification.
no! Can we restart it?
Yeah, maybe. Or real quick, I'm gonna try setting up another meeting on the side, but
Okay.
keep going.
Okay. So yeah, it really
Oh, man.
depends.
Kyle says hi to you, Jack.
Hi. Yeah, it really depends what the environment's like, what you want to do next. If it's really harsh, you want to build a shelter, get that going quickly so that you can kind of gather your thoughts and figure out a game plan for all of this. And if it's fine out, you can potentially put off the shelter a little bit and look for water, look for some kind of water source. And yeah, I mean that's really the key, I think, is there's not really a one size fits all approach to this. You have to really analyze your situation and
Yeah.
react accordingly.
What do we eat, Jack?
Okay.
What do we eat?
Yeah, man.
What do we
We
eat?
hungry.
Yeah. So, a good short-term solution is coconuts if we're on an island. But longer term, we'll probably want to do some kind of fishing.
Spear fishing.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the best bet.
How close do the fish come to the shore?
Totally depends. Like if we're near a reef, that's great. We can go there and catch a bunch of stuff. If we're in like if yeah, it really just depends on the topography, and whether or not there's a reef nearby and how shallow the water is. Like if there's a really steep drop off, we're not going to be able to get fish really. Like it's going to be a struggle. But yeah,
So you can just eat it right away, right? I've seen people do that. You don't
eat
have to
eat the
cook it.
fish.
Yeah, just right away, as soon as
I
you catch it.
mean,
I've seen people do that.
I mean, you can, but there's a reason we started cooking our food.
So why do all these
it's-
people just eat it raw? Like
And why do people
they
eat
shoot it and then they just eat it raw. And I'm like, why do they do that? Don't they have fire?
Yeah, I mean,
Or is this Hollywood?
I don't know a lot about preparing sushi, but I'm sure if you know how to do that, it's fine. And
We'll
there's
just
really
cook it.
not, yeah, there's really not a lot that'll hurt you in fish for the most part. Just food source too, and
What about
pretty prevalent.
bugs or something like that?
Yeah, that's
You
nasty.
you can eat bugs. It'll tide you over. Yeah, it'll tide you over, but that's about it.
What do you mean by that?
Like it might take the edge off of your hunger,
Oh, gotcha.
and you'd get through like 3 weeks. But you'd definitely be in a rough place unless you can find like I don't know, if you find like giant termite mounds, maybe you'd be
Ugh.
okay. Um,
You can use that to filter, right? Too the termite hill.
Maybe I'm not sure. Termite hills are pretty specific.
All right, I'm gonna leave this one and create a new meeting and send you guys a link. You guys
Okay.
keep talking. All right.
Sounds good.
Bye. Now it's the Jack and Zach show.
Yeah.
Oh wait, where's he gonna send the link? Oh shoot.
I don't know.
Send it in chat, live chat, so we can. Oh. Oh well, that's Well, I guess this is now the Zach show. So. Fuck. Is this the meeting? Let's find out. Hold on. Hold on, everybody. It's just a minor technical difficulty. Everyone, hold on. I am joining the new meeting. You see, last time it let us just oh shit. I have an idea. Let's record a shitty intro. Just strum it. Oh. Yo. What the fuck? I did not mean to do that. Oh my god. Shit. See, I have all these like things bound to my keyboard. So when I start touching things, all this stuff is just gonna happen. Yep, as you can see there. Jesus fuck. Hold on. Holy shit. Relax. Fucking relax. Hold on, we're gonna call Aakash. Yo, you need to send that on Discord.
I did.
Oh, bet. Okay, hold up. We're back. Thanks, Zoom.
Can they hear us right now?
Yeah, I think so. Wait, say something.
Alright.
Yeah, okay, we're good. Jesus
Alright,
Christ.
I don't see the video, but still the top. If you were listening to that on podcast, we pretty much send these out unedited, and we pretty much we do the live stream on a Zoom meeting, and Zoom has a 40-minute time limit if it's more than 2 people. So we had to switch from one meeting to another. So that's why there's going to be a pause. Yeah, hopefully you skipped ahead and found it.
I mean, I maybe I'll edit it out, but whatever.
Yeah, maybe we will edit this. I don't know. You'll find out.
We'll have
If Zach
fuck.
edited this, you probably won't hear me saying all this right now. So.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We'll figure out a better solution, but maybe just have a meeting ready to go. So where were we? Food.
We were back. So we were talking about food. We were talking about fish. So Zach, offline a little bit, I was talking to Jack about how he learned this and how he got into this. He was saying he actually survived for 2 days when he went to Bahamas for a semester in high school. So elaborate, Jack.
Yeah, so I spent a semester in the Bahamas and in high school, and we did this 8-day kayak trip, and 2 days in the middle of it were like a solo survival experience. So basically, we each went to a remote stretch of beach on this island, and I couldn't see any other people for 2 days, and I built a shelter. I basically, and it was nice because there was a bunch of stuff that washed up on the beach. In any other situation, that'd be really sad and depressing. But in a survival experience, it's good. Like
Okay.
so like there was this broken pool float kind of thing, like one of the inflatable ones with a hole in it. So I patched up the hole, blew it up. So I had an air mattress.
Hell yeah.
And I made some rope. I found a little bit of rope and I made some more. I made a table, chairs, a little cabana.
What?
Damn.
Made a table and chairs. How'd you
Is
do that?
is this a fucking vacation or a survival?
Yeah, that's what my instructors were asking at the end of it too. But yeah, basically, like if you know how to lash wood together. Um, there's a couple different ways of doing it, and
Wow.
you can make pretty much anything. Um, so yeah, I got a table, chairs. Um, I had a fork and knife that I made using a stick and and a rock. Um, I opened up some coconuts. I was drinking them with a straw.
Were
It
there
Damn.
was
washed up straws?
no. I used a reed to make a straw.
Ah,
Oh,
business
damn.
idea.
Jack was living the life. Did you have like the best situation? Did they do a competition against all
Um,
the people?
they didn't do a competition, but they were calling mine a cabin. Um, and
All right.
and
That's how I
everyone
felt.
else is like huddled under a tarp for 2 days. Um, but yeah, it was it was fun. But I'd been doing that stuff for years by that point. Um,
When did
I
you
used to
start learning about this?
um, I mean, I did Boy Scouts. Um,
Okay.
so I started when I was like 11. Um, and I was an Eagle Scout by 14. Um, so in that time frame, um, I would spend at least 1 to 2 weekends a month camping,
Gotcha.
um, and I would do all kinds of camp. Like I'd go backpacking, I'd go doing survival trips in like Vermont,
Interesting.
and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Why? Why did you get into this? Is it like a parental influence, or were you just crazy interested in all this?
Um, I mean, my dad has always been a big camper, um, and it was something that we could do to bond a little bit more. And we'd go out in the woods of like no distractions, no cell phones, nothing like that, um, and just survive, And I really like creating things. Um,
Uh-huh.
so like now I write computer programs and things like that. But then I would just um, take some rope and lash things together and make shelters and things like that.
Damn.
Um, that is dope.
So we're gonna survive with
Yeah,
Jack.
a lot of people do join Boy Scouts or things like that, but not a lot of people come out of it having learned so much with the command
Yeah,
of survival skills. Why do you think that
yeah.
is? Like, you think
Um,
people are just aren't dedicated enough to it, or
I think everyone joins it for a different reason. Like a lot of people I knew joined it because they were kind of lacking direction. They were a little bit crazy, very
gotcha.
rambunctious. And it was a way to get their energy out. Um, so it was a little hectic there, but I don't know. I think a lot of the time people get out what they need to get out, and most people um, end up getting out before they learn a bunch of survival stuff. I think for them it's more about like the community aspect.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. So, do you personally have any trips coming up soon? Are you planning on doing not just camping, but like any survival trips?
Um, I don't know. I'd really like to soon, but life's a little more hectic these days. Don't get out. Um, doing survival trips enough, especially with the current state of the world, you know. Um,
Staying home is the real survival trip.
yeah,
Doing a part for your future.
yeah. I mean, like I could probably drive up somewhere um, and not really interact with many people, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this thing blows over, and then I'd like to get back in the woods a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Gotcha. And how would you do that in the USA? Are there specific sites that people go to for to experience like I guess, a safe survival trip, or do you just try to get lost in the woods and see if you can find the way out?
I mean, my family has property up in Vermont, so that's where I've done it in the past. Like we back up to a bunch of state land too, so it's pretty remote. Um, but I've also done the whole get lost in the woods thing a little bit.
Yeah. How'd
Yeah,
that
I
go?
mean, it's fun, you know.
Mm.
It's a good time. It like if you're alone, it's not as fun as with when you're with a bunch of friends, you know. Especially when you've got friends who are like competent in this stuff too. Um, but yeah, it's just cool seeing like what you know and what you learn, you know, from experience.
All right, that's one thing I guess I never brought up. How do you maintain a sense of direction when you're in the island? Not like in a life purpose or meaning way, but more like actual directions.
Yeah. So you can figure out your I think your latitude. Um,
Really?
yeah, and like it's a little hit or miss. Um, but basically like um I think um I think you do it to the North Star. But I'm a little rusty on this. It's been a while since I needed to use this skill. Um, and you basically look out at the horizon um, and put your fist out um, and put the bottom of your fist level with the horizon, and then you put your other hand on top of it and go until you reach the North Star. And again, I'm not as a little disclaimer, I'm not
Someone
North
gets
North
lost.
Star.
Oh, you just count
Um,
how many fists and calculate the angle?
yeah, basically,
Ah.
like each fist is roughly 10 degrees, from what I
Huh.
recall. Um, so like you stack it 3 times, you're at 30 degrees latitude roughly, and from that you can get a bunch of useful data, um, or like useful knowledge, I guess, on your environment.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
What about more
interesting.
in like a micro scale, where say you're on the beach shore, you go into the woods to get something. How do you make your way back to the shore? You just use the sun and try to do that, or
I mean, I I don't. I just kind of have I have a good sense of internal direction from just being in the woods a lot. Um, I can
okay.
kind of recognize which tree I just passed, um, and oh, that rock looks familiar. You know, the smart way to do it is to either leave some kind of marker um, on your whole way out, um, and you can either leave a physical marker, like um, put some kind of obvious rock pointing up, um, or another like the better way is if you have something sharp, you carve like notches into the trees,
Oh, okay.
and those act as like blazes, leading your way back.
Hmm. I use
Very
torches
cool.
in the cave for
Yeah.
Minecraft. Put them on the right side of the wall.
Oh, is that your
Nice.
technique? You always put on the right side of the wall?
Yeah. And if you get lost, just dig straight up. You'll get out.
It's true.
Yeah, that's another thing. Can you dig straight down in real life?
Yeah.
Is that okay, or are you gonna fall into lava?
Um, Probably not going to fall into lava.
All right, good,
But also good luck digging straight down. Um, yeah,
And
you might struggle a bit.
speaking of this, though, if you find a cave, is that a good shelter?
It depends on the cave a lot.
Really?
So yeah, so like um, there are some places like in the Caribbean at least that have like these big limestone um, like overhangs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, actually, it might be a different kind of stone. I'm not sure, but basically, they have these big overhangs, and if you go under them, um, that's a pretty good place um, to be as far as like shelter from rain and sun. Um, yeah, I mean, when I was on my trip in the Caribbean, my we were with my group, and it was pouring for like 4 days straight. Um,
Ooh.
so my like they had a lighter, but it was waterlogged,
Oh
so
no.
it wouldn't
Hmm.
go. So I had to break out my emergency flint and steel and get a fire going that way, which was not fun, but it let us cook the water for pasta, so
Nice.
worked.
Why is using flint and steel not fun?
Um, it's not fun in the rain,
Okay, okay,
with a bunch of wet wood. Um,
okay. Does flint and steel have a limited number of uses, or can you use that?
it has a limited number. Are you ever going to reach that number? Probably not,
Okay,
unless you're doing like 6 months in the woods or more, and you're not doing a good job at like keeping your fire going.
gotcha.
Um, yeah.
Only if you're burning down a village, Akash. You'll you'll use it. You know. Just keep bringing this to Minecraft.
Well, it's weird. I always play Minecraft. This is what survival would be like. I'm like, probably not, because this
Hell
game is
no.
way too easy. But don't starve, on the other hand. Don't
Yeah.
starve. Well, except there's like crazy monsters that should attack you, so I don't think that would happen. And
Probably not, but
uh,
I don't know. I had two scorpions try to attack me when I was uh, there.
whoa!
Do you eat them?
Um,
I like how casually you said that. Two scorpions try to attack me.
yeah, and they
How big
like
were they?
um like that bit like inch and a half probably, so probably not too dangerous. Um, but like definitely creepy.
Yeah.
Um, and not great. Um,
What happened?
I they were on a log I was carrying.
Oh,
So
okay.
I saw him coming towards me, and I just threw the log. So
Nice, solid,
yeah,
solid
it
technique.
got the job done.
Did you eat
But
them?
yeah, the no, I did
Oh,
not.
gotcha.
Um, I didn't think that would be very enjoyable. Um, if I was in a survival situation, I would have like a true survival thing, but I don't know. There were also like when I was sleeping, the ghost crabs
Ugh.
would come up
Those
and try to attack my toes.
Did you eat those? That's like crab. Make crab cakes.
They're so small. Um, but
Boil them.
again, in survival, you probably would.
Interesting.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So, all right, one more thing, because we're getting pretty close to the end here. But
Okay.
um, are animals really a concern at all, or no?
On an island, I would not be concerned at all with them. Um, like they'll basically keep to themselves. Um, in more of a forest environment, they're a little bit of a concern potentially. Um, but like if you build a shelter, you're fine. They're not going to come through your shelter probably. The biggest concern is if you're exploring a bit and you like threaten them somehow. Um,
So as long as you keep to yourself, you should be fine.
for the most part, you definitely want to be on your guard in places where like there are mountain lions,
Okay, gotcha.
because those are basically the only animal that'll actively hunt you potentially. Um,
Damn.
I mean, there are some other like basically big cats you want to watch out for.
Cats, man, always these evil ass cats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the bears will keep to themselves unless you threaten them, and like most animals will keep to themselves unless you threaten them or get between them and their babies. You know.
Have you ever been hunted before?
Uh, Not that I know of. I've come pretty close to
Okay.
a mountain lion in the wild. Um, and I've come close to bears. Um, but yeah, I don't know. The one time that I was afraid I was being hunted by something, um, I was up in Vermont and I was young at the time, I think. But something basically jumped out of the bushes at me, and I don't really know what it was. But I just started running, like, which is not it's not what you're supposed to do. Um,
What are you supposed to do?
it depends what it is. Um, but for the most part, you're supposed to just make yourself look big and like potentially back away slowly. Um,
Oh, they can sense the fear, huh?
Basically, you just don't want to threaten them, and any quick movement is potentially a threat.
Interesting.
And you also don't want to maintain eye contact because that could be a threat to them as well,
I
potentially.
see.
So you want to just kind of
Maintain
like
sexual eye contact?
that's up to you.
It is Friday.
It is for late night.
Late night.
Um, oh man. Well, any wrapping statements, Jack? Any more wisdom you'd like to impart on our audience today?
Yeah, if you ever get lost in the woods or stuck on an island after your plane blows up, just don't die. If you do that, you'll be fine.
Just don't die.
Okay, don't die. I'll keep that in mind. I did not know about that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'll try to remember.
Just don't die. Don't die. Don't die.
yeah.
What if you're trapped in your room
Um,
and need to survive?
Good luck. I think you have other issues.
Zach, you should start a fire in your room.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I
man.
could start an electric fire. Pretty easy.
So you have a fork. That's all you need.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
That's cool, man.
I
Well,
think
Jack, thanks for joining us. It's
Thanks for
actually
having
been
me.
really useful.
I
And
learned
maybe if
learned a
this whole
lot.
thing blows over, we'll go on a camping trip.
Hell
Yeah, sounds good.
Show
I'll
us
show
in
you guys how to
person.
do it.
The Netflix
Show us how to do
series,
it.
Yeah.
Surviving in the Woods.
The Zach and Akash show versus the wild.
No, I don't think we'd last very long. Akash and I would eat each
Oh,
other.
is that what would happen?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Okay, everyone. Well,
wow.
it's been an
Well,
excellent first season to the Zach and Akash show.
yeah. Thanks for the regular viewers for watching us. We know you exist. I mean, we see the ones on chat with YouTube, and we know there's a few that exist thanks to the power of analytics on Spotify, Google, Apple, all those platforms. Of course, thanks to our Instagram followers as well. It's been it's been an experimental but fun first season, and
mhm,
we learned a lot that we can take on season two. A little
mhm.
bit more structure, a little bit of a prettier template.
Yep. Season 1 was the experiment for everything, just like figuring out what we'd like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then like a couple days ago, we actually literally just had like a 15-minute meeting and we figured it all out. And so now we're like, all right, let's like do it. And then because
Oh,
of that, the next show was
figured it
good.
all
Well,
out.
we figured it all out, like figured it out a little more, and then like people actually like thought yesterday's show was useful. So so I think we
Yeah,
did
people
good.
really like that. I think that was recently one of our most popular shows.
We had some KPIs. Okay.
But anyway, as always, if you are on YouTube and you can't make it one day, check us out on Spotify, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts at the Zach and Aakash Show. And if you're on one of those platforms, go and check us out live at 9 a.m. on YouTube.
Yep.
We do it from Sunday through Friday, and we're taking Saturdays off.
Just recuperate. Yeah. I hope.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Jack. It was a great season finale. I thought about buying one of those confetti things, but
Yeah.
that might make a mess. Yeah. So we'll see you all Sunday for the new and improved season 2.
Yeah. Real quick to go over the news schedule again. Sunday, Zach's going to be researching a topic on Wikipedia beforehand, and we're going to be talking about that. Monday is a random self-help topic. Tuesday is just a straight up random topic. Wednesday is going to be my Wikipedia research thing. Thursday is going to be career and business. And Friday is going to be guest like Jack over here.
Yep.
So if any of those interest you, tune in on those specific days. Or why not all of them?
Yeah, man. You said it. Jack,
Alright.
anything else?
No, just thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, man. It was a pleasure. We'll definitely have
It was
you
a
on
fun
again
time.
one day.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Jack, once this is huge, you can say you were the second guest on the show.
Yeah.
That's right.
Kyle's got dibs on first, but
All right.
all right,
Bye.
thank you.
Everyone wave
Bye.
to the chat. Bye, chat.